good video on esports economy. Oh, I did want to watch this. The crooked economics of esports.
There are few industries that have risen and collapsed as quickly as esports. In the 2010s, competitive gaming had grown
it's
beyond...
just very, very relevant. I mean, whoa! I used to watch these guys. This is fucking World Cyber Game. Yeah, it's WCG 2009.
Esports sold itself as the sport of the future, a world where video game tournaments would surpass the NBA and NFL, where anyone could grind from amateur to superstar, where...
I mean, like, this is when I came up in this era of like, esports is gonna change everything. Let's put a bunch of money in it. It's all going to the moon. It's gonna pass the NFL. Everyone was putting out these PowerPoint decks and pitches saying like viewership is going to be bigger than hockey in 1 year, and it's going to be bigger than baseball in 2 years, bigger than NBA in 3 years. You know, it was all like all these insane projections, how the money was going to be fucking huge. Unmatched youth, average age of esports viewer, and it's 32. I told you guys I'm young. Well, I'm the unmatched youth. By the way, the picture for esports being fucking Pac-Man. This is like such a boomer graph.
There was so much hype that everyone expected the economics to solve itself over time. Around the world, venture capitalists invested millions into emerging teams, game publishers hosted tournaments in world-class venues.
Dude, what's funny is every one of these teams thought it would work like real sports, where they all get a cut of the broadcast rights. But like nobody realized that like if you're Riot Games, you don't charge Twitch a bunch of money to broadcast the esport. You just put it on there because you make the money off of the hype, the skins. The only league that ever got that through one time was fucking Overwatch League. And they had to threaten to pull every Blizzard game from Twitch to get paid. Bobby Kotick had to walk into the Twitch office and threaten to fucking pull every Blizzard game from Twitch to get paid for the Overwatch League. And then Twitch paid $100 million for the broadcast rights. It was the stupidest decision Twitch ever made. They got so finessed. And of course it did nothing. Like the viewership was not nearly enough to make that money back. Twitch had to fucking cut their content budget for years because of that huge hangover. I remember sitting next to the finance guys who I would play Smash with. We'd do a little work and I'd be like, hey, you want to play some Melee? And they'd be like, fuck yeah. And then afterwards, they'd have to get busy to fucking fake these numbers for these PowerPoints so they could go to executives and pretend like Overwatch League was a good idea to buy. I mean, they were making these PowerPoints that were like, yeah, we project it'll have Twitch viewership growth of 3 million or like, just all these fucking fake up into the right graphs that were used to get executives on board.
The few teams that have IPO'd are all penny stocks, with the majority already delisted from their stock exchanges.
Yeah.
Marketers are moving away, and the only supporters of esports still left are Saudi Arabia, online casinos.
Well, I mean, the marketers realize that fucking, you know, let's say you have a $2 million ad budget. If you give that to an esports team, they're going to make a bunch of like 0 view YouTube videos with their players of them being like, hold up the phone doing it. Like, it won't do shit. If you give that to a streamer, at least you get views. You know what I'm saying? Some of the players are stars, but when you give, like, let's say there's a player on Cloud9 who's really popular. I'm just giving a random example. If you sponsor that player directly through their agent and they do an ad read or whatever, it might get some views. It might get some, but if you do it through the team, nobody watches it. If it's on their channel or their fucking content, like it does jack shit. So the marketers took a long time because they don't understand gaming, so they always just threw money away. But the marketers are finally realizing the teams are worthless. They bring nothing to the table. There's no extra value. It just makes the content more inorganic. People aren't really fans of the teams. They're only fans of the player. It turned out to be a huge disaster. And like all of the teams were riding on that inefficiency. Basically, the whole esports industry outside of the games made money off the fact that there were boomers with money that knew kids like games but didn't know how they actually engaged with the world. Teams in Korea during Brood War must have made money at the expense of their players. Yeah, teams in Korea during Brood War, there were 2 TV channels that were dedicated to games. That's where I first heard about esports, in like 2007, dude. And I would watch late night Korean broadcasts of esports because they would play StarCraft on TV there. Those teams would pay the players fucking nothing. The players got paid dick all. They lived in fucking bunk beds in a team house. They would have tiers. There would be a C tier player, a B tier player, and an A tier player. The C tier and B tier would like do the dishes and make the beds and then practice 18 hours a day StarCraft. And then the A tier players would make like a livable wage. And all of it was still, you know, not massively profitable, but it was profitable as part of sponsorship for for big orgs. The difference between actual sports and esports finances is the viewership. 32-year-olds don't have the money and don't support the teams. While, for example, NFL teams are supported by the fans. This is not the difference. It's the mechanism by which they make money. And it's the team's ownership stake too. The real difference that people that bought into esports teams didn't understand is that all of the power is with the publisher, with the game creator. So Riot Games for the league, for LCS, for example, has all of the power. They make all of the upside. And they don't really make any money on esports. They don't run esports to make money. Esports to them is a marketing tool to get you to play the game and buy skins. That's not like for football, NFL is not designed to make you play football and buy custom football skins. NFL makes money on its own. It makes money from the commercials. It makes money from the jerseys. It makes money from the ticket sales. It makes money. That's what it's run for. League as a whole is a loss leading enterprise that only exists to make money elsewhere. But the teams don't really get a cut of that. They might get a skin sale here and there, but they're not splitting the profits of League of Legends. And that's where all of the profit is. Like if you are an NFL team, if you're the Bills or something, the majority of your money comes from the cut you get of the big TV broadcast rights deal. Every, 8 years or so, the NFL will sign this huge multi-billion-dollar deal with like Comcast or Apple or Amazon or ESPN or whatever, whoever's broadcasting it. And they'll pay billions of dollars. And then that money gets split amongst all the teams. And that way those teams make a fuck ton of money for doing nothing, just being part of the league. That doesn't happen to anybody in esports. None of the teams have that power. None of them get a cut. The Worlds doesn't sell to Twitch. It just broadcasts on Twitch. Until you understand that, like that is why it doesn't work. It's not necessarily about the people. The people will spend money. They spend money all the time. 32-year-olds spend a fuck ton of money on the esports they like, Rocket League or whatever, but it's buying skins in the game. And the Premier League has the best TV deal, so even low-tier Premier League clubs are rich compared to most Italian clubs. Yeah, exactly. All of sports is run around, right now, all of mainstream sports is built around TV deals. That's where all of the money is. Soccer in America just got a big deal from Apple, which is funny because players in soccer, American soccer, are better paid than women in the WNBA, but have less viewership. But they got a much bigger TV deal because Apple wanted to be into men's soccer in America. I don't know what it is, but that's like where the money came from. Once they get their new TV deal in women's basketball, they might get a better. But that's like Messi. Yeah, Messi. Messi got a big part of that deal. But also like, Apple might have overpaid because the viewership wasn't really there. But Apple doesn't care because they're a $3 trillion company. But without TV deals, esports teams don't make sense like sports teams. They'll never make sense like sports teams. The only way esports teams make money right now is with sponsorships. And like I mentioned earlier, all the sponsors are realizing that it's a waste of fucking money. It doesn't work. Let's say I'm Alienware, right? This has 72K subscribers, 621 views. 621 views. If you're Spectrum or Bud Light or Alienware, who've been told, like, this is how you reach Gen Z. Give us money and CLG is gonna help you reach Gen Z. They realize eventually they're being tricked. They're like putting their logo on the CLG jersey and getting into this content doesn't work. Let's say you're HyperX and you skip CLG and you go to Doublelift directly. You do a Doublelift 20 questions, 429,000 views on your channel. Or you go to him, 7-8 times what the actual team has. So this is what the teams realize. What the sponsors realize is there's just no point in going through the team. The team doesn't get you anything. They charge you more and get you less. And I did this. Like at NVIDIA, when we did the green out, I refused to negotiate with Doublelift's team at the time. And I went through his agent, talked to him directly because we got Doublelift to do the green out for a direct rate because we didn't need his whole fucking team. We just needed him. We wanted his social media. We wanted his, I've lived through this. This is like what people started to realize really quickly in the mid 2010s was like, oh wait, this esports thing it's all a fundamental lie that we can reach young audiences through these teams. You can't. And that's why FaZe is different when they do it right, when they're doing it like they're doing now, because they can get an audience. What's up, PC? You playing ball this week? We've been missing you on the court. Yes, but I am so out of shape. Do you guys know that Point Crow, when he plays basketball, literally caws like a crow every time he shoots a shot? I'm not kidding. I'm dead serious. Point Crow, he goes, caw! And then drains a three.